I was sitting at the dinner table when it happened. Ryan stood up, glass in hand, smiling like he had just won something big. His family leaned in, waiting. His mother already looked proud, like she knew what he would say. "I closed the deal," he said. "The biggest one yet." Everyone clapped. His father slapped the table. His sister said, "I knew you would do it." I smiled too. I had to, because I built that deal. Every number, every timeline, every contract draft. I stayed up nights, fixing problems no one else even saw. Ryan kept talking. "It took a lot of planning," he said. I opened my mouth. Just a little. Just to say, "We did it." His mother cut me off with a soft laugh. "Let Ryan speak, sweetheart. He handles the important things." The table laughed. Ryan didn't correct her. He didn't even look at me. I sat back slowly, hands in my lap, heart beating loud in my ears. That's when it hit me. They didn't just ignore me. They truly believed I had nothing to do with it. And Ryan let them believe it. The ride home was quiet at first. Streetlights passed over us in slow flashes. Ryan hummed softly, like nothing had happened. I stared out the window, replaying the dinner in my head. Finally, I spoke. "You didn't mention me," I said. He sighed, like I had just asked something annoying. "Mention you for what?" "For the deal," I said. "I helped build it." Ryan glanced at me, then back to the road. "You're overthinking it." That word again. Overthinking. "I wasn't trying to take anything from you," I said carefully. "You're not," he replied. "It's just how things work. I'm the one presenting. It's my role." My role. I turned to look at him. But it was our work. His jaw tightened. "Lauren, don't start this. It's not a big deal." Not a big deal. I leaned back in my seat, quiet again. But something inside me shifted. Because if it wasn't a big deal to him, how many times had this already happened? That night, I couldn't sleep. Ryan was out cold beside me, breathing steady like the world was simple. I got up and opened my laptop. I didn't know exactly what I was looking for. I just needed to see emails, drafts, messages. I scrolled back weeks, then months, and slowly something started to form. Patterns. I saw threads where I explained things clearly, then later, those same ideas showed up again, but without my name. I saw messages where Ryan said, "I'll handle it," even when I had already done the work. I saw documents I created sent again by him, as if they started with him. My chest tightened. This wasn't one moment. This was a system. I kept scrolling. Then I found something that made me stop. A presentation file. The same one from the dinner. I opened the version history. My name was there. Then gone. Replaced. I stared at the screen. And for the first time, I didn't feel confused. I felt clear. The next morning, I didn't confront Ryan. I didn't argue. I didn't even bring it up again. Instead, I opened a new folder on my laptop. I named it something simple. Work files. Then I started saving everything. Emails where I explained ideas. Contracts I drafted. Messages showing timelines. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I just collected. Quietly. Carefully. Piece by piece. Later that afternoon, I opened one of the main documents for the deal. My version. Then Ryan's version. Side by side. Line by line. I noticed small changes. Words shifted. Sections removed. And then I saw it. My name. Gone. Not crossed out. Not replaced. Just erased. Like I was never there. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen. This wasn't carelessness. This was intentional. I closed the file slowly. Because now I understood something important. Ryan didn't just forget me. He was rewriting me. The next weekend, we had another family gathering. Same house. Same table. Same smiles. Ryan's mother greeted me with a quick hug. "Good to see you," she said, already turning back to him. "Tell us about the deal," his father said. Ryan didn't hesitate. He talked. Confident. Smooth. Like it was all his. I sat beside him, quiet. Listening. Watching. His sister leaned toward me. "It must be nice," she said, smiling. "Not having to deal with all that stress." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "Well," she said lightly. Ryan handles all the business stuff, right? I nodded slowly, because explaining felt useless. They had already decided who I was. Dinner went on. Stories. Laughs. Praise. All for him. At one point, his mother looked at me and said, "You're lucky, you know. Not everyone gets a man like Ryan." Lucky. I smiled again. But inside, something went quiet. Because this wasn't just Ryan anymore. This was a story his whole family believed. And I had been living inside it, without even realizing. That night, Ryan was in a good mood. He talked about expanding the deal. Bigger plans. More money. I listened. Then I said, "I think there are some risks we should look at first." He frowned. "What risks?" I explained one small issue. Something I had noticed early. He waved it off. "You're always thinking too small." Too small. "I'm just trying to help," I said. Ryan laughed. Not mean. Just dismissive. "That's the problem. You don't see the bigger picture." I went quiet. Later, I heard him on the phone in the other room. His voice was low, but clear enough. "No, she's not involved like that," he said. "I handle the real decisions." I froze. "She helps with small stuff," he added. Small stuff. I stood there, heart pounding. Then I walked back to the bedroom slowly. And sat down. Because now it wasn't just about credit. It was about truth. And the truth was simple. Ryan didn't see me as a partner. He saw me as background. The next morning I stopped trying. I didn't correct him. Didn't offer ideas. Didn't push back. I just watched. Ryan didn't notice at first. He kept moving forward, making plans, taking calls, acting like everything was under control. I stayed quiet, observing, listening, learning. That's when I saw it. A part of the deal he didn't fully understand. Something small, but important. A condition in one of the agreements. One I had written carefully. It looked simple, but it controlled everything. Ryan talked about it like it was just another step. He didn't realize it was the foundation. I leaned back in my chair, heart steady. Because if that part broke, everything would. And he had no idea. I closed my notebook. For the first time, I didn't feel hurt. I felt prepared. Over the next few days, I watched Ryan work. Confident. Fast. Sure of himself. Too sure. He made decisions quickly, skipping details. I recognized every shortcut, because I used to fix them. Now I just listened. The agreement I had written had a key clause. A timing condition. If it wasn't handled correctly, it could delay everything. Or worse. Ryan treated it like paperwork. Something simple. Something easy. It wasn't. I sat at the kitchen table one evening, watching him type. He didn't ask for help. Didn't even think to. That told me everything. Because if something went wrong, he wouldn't know how to fix it. And I was the only one who could. I looked down at my hands. Calm. Still. Because for the first time, I understood where the power really was. I started stepping back without saying anything. No advice. No reminders. No quiet fixes. At first, Ryan didn't notice. He moved through his day like usual: calls, emails, plans. Confident. In control. But then something small happened. A vendor sent a message asking for clarification on a detail I had originally handled. Ryan read it, frowned, and typed a reply. A few minutes later, another message came in. Then another. I watched from across the room. He reread the thread, confusion growing on his face. "What does this even mean?" he muttered. I didn't answer. He didn't ask. That was new. Before, he would have turned to me without thinking. Now he just kept trying, guessing, patching things together. By the end of the day, he looked tired, frustrated. I stayed quiet, because this wasn't failure. Not yet. It was something smaller. The beginning of a crack. The next issue came faster. This time, it wasn't a message. It was a deadline. Ryan had promised a timeline to one of the partners. A timeline I had carefully built before. But he didn't follow it. He missed a key step. When the partner asked about it, Ryan stumbled. "I'll get back to you," he said quickly. After the call, he paced the room. This shouldn't be this complicated, he said. I stayed at the table, reading. He glanced at me once, like he wanted to ask, but didn't. Instead, he blamed the partner. They're not being clear, he said. I almost said something. Almost. But I didn't. Because I was starting to see something clearly now. Ryan didn't just depend on me. He depended on what I understood. And without that, he was guessing. A few days later, I reached out to someone I hadn't spoken to in years. An old contact. Her name was Claire. We used to work together before I met Ryan. She always respected my work. I kept the message simple. Hey, I've been thinking about something new. Would love your thoughts. She replied within an hour. Let's talk. We scheduled a call. I didn't tell Ryan. Not because I was hiding, but because I wasn't ready to explain. The call was easy, natural. Claire listened as I explained the structure I had built. Not Ryan's version. Mine. She asked questions. Good ones. Smart ones. At the end, she said, you should bring this to a small group I'm meeting with next week. I paused. Just to listen, she added. I agreed. After the call, I sat back. Quiet. Because for the first time in a long time, someone saw me. Life at home stayed the same on the surface. Dinner. Conversations. Plans. But underneath, everything felt different. Ryan talked more about expanding the deal. Bigger risks. Bigger moves. I nodded. Listened. Said very little. Meanwhile, I prepared for my own meeting. I reviewed my notes. Refined my ideas. Built something clean. Something complete. The day before my meeting, Ryan made an announcement. I'm moving forward with the expansion, he said. Already? I asked. He smiled. You have to move fast in this game. I didn't argue, but I felt it. The gap between us growing wider. Because he was moving fast, and I was moving right. The two paths started to separate. Ryan's world got louder. More calls. More pressure. More promises. Mine got quieter. Focused. Clear. I saw the flaw in his plan growing bigger. The same issue I had noticed before. Now it was spreading. A weak point under everything. I thought about telling him. Really telling him. But then I remembered the dinner. The laughter. The silence. So I stayed quiet. That night, he said, this is going to be huge. I looked at him. And for a second I almost believed it. Then I remembered what I knew. And I said nothing. The first real problem hit a week later. A partner raised concerns. Questions about structure. About timing. Ryan brushed them off at first. Then more questions came. Same topic. Same issue. He started getting frustrated. They're overthinking it, he said. I watched him carefully. They're asking the right questions, I said softly. He looked at me annoyed. You don't understand the scale of this. I held his gaze. I understood it better than anyone, but I didn't say that. The next day, the issue grew. Emails. Calls. Delays. Ryan stayed up late trying to fix it. I stayed quiet. Because the flaw wasn't new. It was just finally visible. The pressure changed him. Ryan became sharper. Shorter. Less patient. One evening, he dropped his bag on the table. I need you to look at something. I looked up. Just a quick review, he said. I paused. This was the moment. I took a breath. No, I said calmly. He blinked. What? I'm not involved in that, I replied. His expression changed. From surprise to irritation. You've helped before, he said. I nodded. Before. Silence filled the room. For the first time, I didn't step in. That one word, no, changed everything. Ryan started watching me more closely, asking small questions, trying to understand what I was doing. What are you working on? He asked one night. Just things, I said. He didn't like that answer. I could tell, because now he felt it. The distance, the shift, the loss of control. But I stayed calm, steady, because I wasn't fighting him. I was stepping away. And that was something he couldn't control. It didn't take long for him to figure it out. You've been talking to people, he said one night. Not a question. A statement. I looked at him. Yes. His jaw tightened. About what? My work, I said. He laughed. Short. Sharp. Your work. I didn't react. You're trying to go behind me, he said. I'm moving forward, I replied. He stepped closer. You're sabotaging me. I met his eyes and said nothing, because defending myself would only pull me back into a story, and I was already writing my own. A few days later, my phone rang. It was one of Ryan's partners. I answered. Hi, Lauren, he said. I hope this isn't strange. I stayed calm. Go ahead. We've been reviewing the deal, he said carefully. And we had a question. I waited. Were you involved in the early structure of this? There it was. The moment. I took a breath. Yes, I said. Silence on the other end. Then, from the beginning? Yes. Another pause. Can you explain how it was set up? I looked out the window. Steady. Clear. Yes, I said again. I didn't rush my answer. I explained it simply. Step by step. The structure. The timing. The risks. No emotion. Just facts. He listened quietly. At the end, he said, This is different from what we were told. I didn't respond to that. He cleared his throat. Do you have documentation? I looked at my laptop. The folder. The files. The proof. Yes, I said. Would you be willing to share it? He asked. I paused. Then nodded. Yes. I sent everything. Organized. Clear. Time-stamped. Emails. Drafts. Notes. No commentary. No accusations. Just truth. Then I waited. Hours passed. Then a day. Silence. I didn't follow up. Didn't check in. Because I already knew. The truth doesn't need pushing. It just needs space. Things changed quickly after that. Ryan started getting more calls. More questions. Harder ones. He didn't understand why. I don't get it, he said one night. Everything was fine. I watched him quietly. Everything wasn't fine. It was just hidden. Now it wasn't. He turned to me. Did you say something? I held his gaze. I told the truth, I said. That was enough. The conversation that followed wasn't loud. No shouting. No drama. Just clarity. I can't do this anymore, I said. Ryan stared at me. What are you talking about? This, I said. Us. He shook his head. This is just stress. I didn't argue, because I knew better now. This isn't new, I said. I just see it clearly now. Silence. Then I stood up and walked away. A week later, I signed my own deal. Clean, clear, strong, built the right way. Claire smiled across the table. This is solid. I nodded, because I knew it was. Not rushed, not guessed, built, the way it was meant to be. Ryan's world kept shrinking. Deals paused. Questions grew. People stepped back. His family went quiet. No more praise. No more certainty. He called once. I didn't answer, because there was nothing left to say. Months later, I sat in my new office. Quiet. Calm. Everything steady. No noise. No confusion. Just clarity. I looked out the window and smiled. Not because I won, but because I was finally free. And I thought back to that dinner. The laughter. The silence. The moment everything changed. They never saw it coming. And that was the point.